afternoon, people of Periscope. I'm going to give some people a chance to come on, but for those of you who are watching the replay, I didn't do this for a live audience. There's some things I wanted to say, and whether people come on or not, I'm going to share them. So, thank you for tuning in. Hey, nobody but Shells, how are you? Just doing a quick scope, hopefully quick. You guys know I say quick and then ends up being dragged out. But for those who are watching the replay, hello. Those who are watching the replay, I appreciate you taking the time to follow and to watch. And I hope that the title caught your attention. For those of you who don't know, I'm Adrienne Graham, CEO and founder of Empower Me Corporation, and also founder of CurvyGirlCloset.com. Hey, Kyla. Founder of CurvyGirlCloset.com and co-partner in Busy's Place LLC. A lot on my mind today. Today is the 29th. It's a business scope, but there's a little bit of personal infused in it, so I'm going to just flow with it, and you guys just bear with me for right now. I'm not going to get emotional. I'm trying not to get emotional, but there's a lot on my mind. Some of you know that exactly a month ago today, I got the news about my sister, my best friend, passing. And today I woke up and I was a little bit in a mood. I was doing, but in a mood, you know. And I replayed a conversation that we've had, and in some of my other scopes I've mentioned this conversation about gifts. And I keep replaying this conversation, and I choose to focus on that instead of the grief, because it's the only way I'm going to be able to get through the grief and heal over time. But thank you, Kyla. And one of the last conversations we had was, don't ignore your gifts. You have gifts that you need to explore, that you need to tap into, that you need to stop hiding away from the world. We talked about my business, and she asked me point blank, so what's going on? When's the next book coming out? When's the next radio show? People ride by with their cars and motorcycles. I'm sorry, guys. You know, when's the next book coming out? When's the radio show coming back? When you gonna do the magazine? When you gonna? And I was like, girl, please, leave me alone. And she said, no, I'm not gonna leave you alone. She's like, come on, what are you waiting on? I said, well, you know, I have some things to think about with my business. I'm kind of stuck right now, and my mind is kind of cloudy. I don't know where I want to go with it. And she looked at me, she was like, you. With all the stuff I see you posting on social media, all the stuff that I see you posting on Facebook, all the words of encouragement, all of the motivation that you give people to start their companies and their businesses and to keep pressing on, and then eventually it sounded like blah, 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 blah. That's how we did each other, you know. And my thing has always been, she's never been one to tell me what lane to get into. She's never been one to tell me what to do with my business or anything like that. But this particular day, the last day that I saw her, yeah, taking your own advice is so hard. It's incredibly hard. But, this particular day, she just really was adamant about it and was like, what are you waiting on? What are you waiting for? Why are you wasting your gifts? And I'm like, mind your business. You know, that's how we talk to each other. But today, when I woke up and I kind of laid there, I got in the Word and I prayed, and then I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I could sit here and cry that she's gone. And believe me, I've been doing that for a whole month. You know, earlier on it was a lot worse. Now it's a little bit better. But I sat there and I'm like, there's people that I touch on a daily basis with my word. Even when I'm at my lowest and I find a motivation, hey D, I find a motivation and it's like, dig deep, girl, find that word, find something, some encouragement to share with other people. And I do it. You know, sometimes I'll share it and you guys like, oh man, thank you, I needed that today. And my heart could be ripping to shreds, you know. But she told me, don't ignore your gifts. Because no matter what you're going through, she didn't say this part, I'm saying this, no matter what you're going through, someone is always there to receive those gifts, and they need those gifts, and you can't be selfish with it. So that brings me to my topic about entrepreneurship and building your legacy and things like that. Thank you for the hearts, guys. Feel free to invite people. I'm about to get into it. I was a little emotional, sappy, sentimental, but you know, I got to. I miss my sister. I miss her dearly. You know, I think a lot about, and I talked the other day about building your legacy and using your gifts to build your company? Do you want to, I did a podcast and I also did a scope a couple of months back. Do you want to have a business or do you want to run a company? Now, I'm about to get into it, so here's where I'm going to start preaching, so you guys better take notes or whatever. I categorize people in 3 different categories when they're starting their businesses. There is the Walmart brand, the, hey, come one, come all, I'm cheap, I'll sell to anybody. There's the Target brand, where you're, still open to most people, but you're a little bit more selective. And then there's the Neiman Marcus brand. And I always ask people, what are you? What do you envision yourself, your company being? A Walmart, a Target, or a Neiman Marcus? There's no wrong answer. But for me, I always envision my companies, plural, as Neiman Marcus level. Level of excellence, level of service, level of commitment. Exactly, Neiman Marcus. That's where I see, because it's not for everybody. I'm not for everybody. It took me a long time to really come to terms with that. But as I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking about where I see my path going, and where I see my companies going, and where I see my legacy going for my child to pass down, I want to make sure that I am targeting the Neiman Marcus type brands, crowd, so that they are more able to take those opportunities and in turn create their own companies. Because here's what and this is not a knock. Please, Walmart people, don't send your goons after me. Don't send the legal department after me, because this is not a knock on Walmart or Target. But I envision it, and I look at Walmart. It's a $1 billion company. It's a $1 billion brand. We all know that. But the people that it attracts, and write this down, guys, pay attention to this part. The people that Walmart attracts on a daily basis, they're looking for bargains, they're looking for deals, they're looking for the quick fix, they're looking for cheap in and out. That's the Walmart crowd. There's nothing wrong with that if that is who your target market is. The Neiman Marcus brand is looking for customers who are serious about what they need. They have specific needs. That's what I should say, not serious. Specific needs. They have specific needs. They have luxury needs. They have high-level needs that they want to, that they use, with Neiman Marcus. So when I talk about stop playing in entrepreneurship, there's a lot of people that say, oh, I'm going to start something out the garage of my house, or I'm at my kitchen table. And that's fine, because we all started there. I started at the coffee table. But you got to look beyond. You got to look beyond today. You got to look beyond next month or even next year. Where do you envision your company? My companies, one is a brand, well, a relaunch. The other one is a startup, technically. Empower Me's been around for all these years, since 1998. I've been an entrepreneur since 1994. That company is no longer around, but I look at the evolution and I look at where I'm going, and I'm looking at the design. And it's like, you got to keep pushing. When you're building that legacy, you got to keep pushing. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep striving for more. You have to. Mark Cuban made a comment on Shark Tank one day that was the most profound statement I have ever heard. If you're going to be, and I'm paraphrasing, if you're going to be keeping yourself up at night, do it by thinking of ways you can kick your own ass. I'm going to say that again. If you're going to be keeping yourself up at night stressing, use that time to think about how you can kick your own ass. What he meant by that was, the competition is always going to be keeping their eye on you. And they're always going to be looking to see what you're doing next. You can take that as a compliment or as an insult. Doesn't matter. That's how they do. But you should be doing the same thing. You should never be complacent. You should never be stuck in the same place and having the same type of conversations a year later, as far as your business is concerned. And one thing I've always taught my son, in terms of like on a personal level, when we address something, I don't want to talk about this again. We're not going to have the same conversation in 3 months and you haven't progressed. There's going to be problems. And that is how you should look at your business. You need to be having different conversations with different levels. You can't be talking about startup stuff and you're 5 years into your business. You can't be talking about how to raise money and you're 10 years in your business and should have already monetized and gotten a good flow of revenue for your company. You shouldn't be talking about scrambling to get customers and you've been in business 3 years. Some conversations need to evolve. And a lot of us don't like to have those hard conversations. Now, when I was thinking about what I wanted to say today, because you guys know I don't do scripted or anything like that, what some of the things that came to mind was this. Biggest thing is, without risk, there's no reward. I tell people all the time, I'm all in, 100% in on my endeavors, because I have to be. That's how I'm wired. That's how I'm designed to be. And I look at, somebody put up a meme the other day on Instagram, and I snatched it and put it up on mine. I might repost it today, of Elon Musk. You guys know him from SpaceX and Tesla and all that other stuff. This is what he did. He sold his interest in PayPal, because he's one of the founders of PayPal. And when he sold it, he got $180 million. Now, I know we're not going to wake up tomorrow and have a $180 million check waiting on us. Some will, some won't. I hope I do, but you never know. He got $180 million. And I had to write this down. This is what he did. Before I tell you what he did, his ending statement was, but I had to borrow money to pay my rent. You probably thinking, all right, wait, didn't you say dude just got $180 million? Million with an M? Yes, he got $180 million buyout for PayPal. This is what he did with his money. $100 million went to the SpaceX company. That's the one where he's doing the launches and the rocket ships and all that other stuff. SpaceX is SPACEX. Make sure y'all look that up. $100 million he put into SpaceX, to founding that company. Then he put $70 million into Tesla. You guys know what Tesla is. Tesla's the car company the electric car company that he did. $70 million into Tesla. And the remaining $10 million he put into a company called Solar City. Now, I'm not familiar with Solar City. I have to do some research on that. But I just found that very interesting. $100 million for SpaceX, $70 million for Tesla, $10 million for Solar City. And he had to borrow money to pay his rent. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. Because to the average entrepreneur, to the average person out there, let's take entrepreneur out the equation, it's like, dude, are you crazy? And you look at him with the same eye that you look at that lady in the news that won the multi-million-dollar lottery, and she spent the money, kept bailing her boyfriend out of jail or whatever it is. And we look at that and it's like, why do people do, I make sure I got money in the bank. I make sure I got money in the bank. Well, guess what? The money that he put in were investments in the future for his companies, for his family. He provided. That's how he provided. You know, a lot of people are like, but I don't get it. You don't get it because you're probably not there yet. You have to take risks in life if you want to reach those big goals. Nothing is safe. We do not live in a safe world. We're not supposed to be safe. If you want to be safe, you stay at a job. You stay at a 9 to 5. And guess what? Even with the 9 to 5, you get a steady paycheck until the time comes when you're terminated. And then what? So doesn't it make more sense to put the investment where it needs to be and put it into your company, into your business, into building your legacy, your family? That is what you need to be investing your money in. Not looking at people sideways. I bet you right now, if you have, let's say you have $250 in your pocket right now, and someone came to you and said, you know, I know you wanted to go shopping, or I know you needed to buy groceries or whatever, you know, pay a bill or whatever. How many of you would take that $250 and put that into marketing for your company? Or to pay for an hour of advice for your attorney to make sure that you're getting the proper guidance in moving forward in your business idea. A lot of people will be hard. It's kind of like how when you go to church, it's like, oh, I just got $10 in my purse. Do I have to put this in the plate? Do I have to put this in there? What do you want to do? What do you want to invest in? Me, I invest in it. Maybe now, but not exactly. Me, I invest in my company. I invest in me. Because guess what? If all of this up here eventually comes to fruition, and without me investing in that, it will never happen. And then I can't profit from it. I can't prosper. I can't bring other people up with me and provide opportunities. I can't create jobs. So for me, I'm always thinking investment first, not expense, not cost. What's the investment? What's the risk? What's the potential reward? Because the more you risk, the greater the reward. It really is. And then what's the worst that could happen? You fail, you have a pity party for a weekend, dust yourself up, get up Monday morning, and move on like a mogul. Next. How many people have stories of how many times the companies went bankrupt or failed or whatever? They keep it moving. We have to do the same thing. And because we're small business, this people, all you watching the replay and watching now, small business still has to think like that. Just because we're small, we're not exempt from thinking big. It's a requirement. Some of the things you need to build your legacy, and this is straight up. Number one, build your reputation before you need to cash in on it. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And I know you guys have heard that 8 million times. People say that in all their scopes and radio shows and all this stuff. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. You need to start building a rapport with people, whether it's getting out into the community and networking, whether it's getting on Periscope and giving some information, or making YouTube videos, or making yourself visible to people. I love social media. I love Twitter. Twitter is my favorite tool. It really is, hands down, because it's live time. We're back and forth. We're talking to each other. We're sharing information. But guess what? That's words on the screen. You know, same thing with Facebook. You might be able to post a picture, maybe a little video clip or whatever. Nothing beats personal one-on-one interaction. I love Periscope, but for me, I feel like I'm talking at you guys. I do much better in a live environment because I feed off that energy. People get to know me. I get to know them. We have, real talk. We have real talk. We sit down and we hash it out. That's what I love. But you got to start somewhere. You have to start with social media. If you're an introvert, yes, social media is great, but make it a point to reach out to 5 new people every week that you maybe have been watching on social media but have never had a conversation with. Make it a point to reach out. Push your limits. Push your limits. And I don't a lot of people come to me and say, well, you don't understand, I'm an introvert and I don't really get along with people, and I'm more comfortable behind the scenes. Yeah, that's beautiful. But guess what my father used to say? And I put this in my first book. Actually, it's a chapter. It's the name of a chapter in my first book. A closed mouth don't get fed. Yeah, that's a tweetable. Y'all better tweet that. A closed mouth don't get fed. Now, of course, it was some little smart aleck when they read the book was like, you know what, that's improper. It's a closed mouth doesn't get fed. No, my daddy said a closed mouth don't get fed, meaning you don't ask, you don't get. You don't ask, you don't eat. So step out of those boundaries that you set for yourself and start reaching out to people and building that network before you need it. Because guess what? You come to me and you find out I'm an investor and you say, you know what, Adrienne, I've been watching you. But I wanted to reach out to you because I have this company and I wanted to know if you would invest in my company. Am I going to write a check? No. No. As a matter of fact, to invoke the dear words of the dear departed Whitney Houston, hell to the no. No. I don't know you. I may have seen your words on the screen, but there's no connection there because we're not interacting. I see you once in a blue moon. Even if we talk every day on Twitter, comment, hey, how you doing, good morning, whatever, but not really getting to know each other. That's not really getting to know each other. So get out there making an effort to get out and put yourself at risk. Open yourself up to opportunities by getting to know people. When you get to know people, you get pushed into that position to where you're around the right people. So you got to get to know people so you can get to know the right people. The next step I have is networking. Networking. Networking is vital, but here's the thing. I wrote a book a couple of years ago called Go Ahead, Talk to Strangers, The Modern Girl's Guide to Fearless Networking. It is on Amazon, by the way, but I'm not plugging it, but it is on Amazon. But anyway, I wrote this book based on, I had a piece of hair on my face, based on a conversation I had with a couple of friends, and we had this big, to-do about networking. And I'm like, you know what? Networking is not going to local meet and greets or local chamber events every month, or even those, sip and serve or whatever kind of events that they have. That's not networking. You know what networking is? Networking is relationship building. It's about taking it away from that. I shouldn't have to be focused on, well, why do I only see this person at this meeting every month? You know, give you a case in point. I go to a real estate investment club meeting. I haven't been in a couple of months because I've been kind of, you know, depressed with the whole loss of my friend and everything, but in the holidays. But I still keep in touch with some of those people. The ones that I only see at the meeting, not so much. It's, hey, how you doing? Handshake, hug, or whatever the case may be. But the ones that I keep in touch with are the ones that say, hey, Adrian, guess what? There's this property in Tampa that's so-and-so and so-and-so. They'll pick up a phone and call me, or they'll email me, hey, Adrian, there are these properties about to go on the market, but I wanted to tell you first in case you were interested. It's up in Central Orlando. You know, and we have that relationship, because it's like, before I go to the the general public, the general population, I'm gonna come to you because we have a relationship. That is how that works with networking. You build relationship. It's not about attending events. It's not about passing out business cards. It's not about, you know, sending a newsletter or a quarterly email. I'm just checking in. No, it's about building those relationships. You remember the story I told you guys about the whole magazine fiasco, and my board came to my rescue, who are actually friends as well, turned out to be friends as well. We've already built a relationship, but we were building that relationship, and then at the time when I needed them, they came. They saw me in need, and they came. No questions asked. That is what the true power of networking is, and that helps you grow your legacy. Again, a closed mouth don't get fed. You got to get out there and meet people. The next point is research. I said yesterday on Twitter, if some of you saw, I was live tweeting during Beyond the Tank, the Shark Tank show that comes on Thursdays. And one of the ladies said something about she opted to do licensing for her business. And then they got into this whole thing about patents and licensing and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I made a comment, and I said, you know what? Sarah Blakely of Spanx had no budget for an attorney. No budget. She had the $5,000 that she saved up by being a salesperson. And she went and she shopped her product around. She paid for prototypes. She did what she had to do. When it came time to do the patent, which cost money, for filing fees, for attorney fees, because you should have an attorney if you possibly can. And someone's on here today that I think you're on here today. We had a conversation yesterday about patents and stuff. She wrote her own patent. She went to the Georgia Tech Law Library, looked up the books, looked up how to write a patent, and she wrote her own patent. Research. You have to research, because we people in general will say, I don't have the resources. I don't know how to do this. There's nothing available for me. There's no information. Number one, it's a lie, because you have the biggest, most powerful tool at your arsenal. That's this. Followed by your eyes and your ears. After that, resources are Google. You can look up any and everything you want on Google, and there are colleges that have libraries that you can go into and do the research. They have the major metropolitan libraries. People laugh at me when I tell them I still go to the library. Yeah, I'm a book person. I'm a bookophobe. I don't know, bookphile or whatever you call those people. I'll go to the library. Matter of fact, there's one right across the street from where I stay now. Yes, I go to the library. You have to be willing to research and do the work, because knowledge is such power, but application, Kansas City Law Library, there you go, your local law library. Power is knowledge, but the application of power, oh my God, that's a higher power. That's the ultimate power, just below God, for real. So always put yourself at an advantage by doing the research, doing the work. How many times have you heard about people who stay up in the college library till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're kicking them out the library? Pick up a book. Do your research. You got phones. You got smartphones. You're watching me on Periscope. Google on your phone. Google on your tablet. Google on your laptop. We are a connected society. There's no excuse anymore. None whatsoever. Next tip is self-directed action. How bad you want it? How bad do you want to grow your legacy? We can sit around all day, and I've done it. and I've done it, and I've recently done it, because I tell you, my sister friend was like, girl, you better go ahead and do your thing. I sat around last month and was, I don't know if I'm effective. I'm burnt out. I don't know if people receive my messages. And, you know, I haven't done a scope in a while. I haven't done a blog post. I shut down my radio show. I just don't think I'm effective. Guess what? Pity party. Yep. Right here. Because I was burnt out and wasn't clear, and I didn't take it to where I needed to take it, which was up to the throne. And pray on it and really ask for guidance. Hey, Marla, I have not seen you in a minute, and we got to talk. I owe you an apology. You know, I take it up, and I've refreshed and recharged, but we got to be self-directed. You can't just expect it. Oh, you know what? I'm looking for this, and then it falls in your lap. Hey, it doesn't just fall in your lap. Mala's a good excuse, too. She's a good representation of an entrepreneur. You guys need to follow her. Follow her. Please follow her. And those of you on the replay, make sure you following her, too. You got to take action. Words without action is just dreams. You know, dreams unfulfilled. You have to take those actions. You have to be able to say, okay, I wrote down these goals today. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this today. Okay, I can't do this today, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. Don't sit around and get complacent. If you want that goal, if you want that dream, you get up off your butt and make it happen. Exactly. Words without actions are just dreams. And I have big dreams, but you got to take action on it. I said that I wanted to start getting into the production side of TV, to start making sure that my word could get out there. I was like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I'd rather executive producer, whatever. But then I thought about it, and my mentor, and some of you know, she's one of the co-creators of the defunct Style Network. I said, she said, well, you're not going to do that in Orlando. She said, you need to be in LA. And I'm like, girl, please, I'll get to LA when I get there. And I start thinking about it, I'm like, that's where I need to be. That's where all the stuff is that I need to be to make things happen. How am I going to do that sitting here in Orlando? It's not going to happen for me in Atlanta. Not going to happen for me here in Orlando. So I made the conscious decision, and yes, in March, that's where I will be. Got to do it. So you have to make those hard decisions sometimes, and the more painful it feels, the more confirmation that you are on the right path, and that is what you should be doing. Pray on it to whoever you serve, whichever God is your God. I pray on it to the Lord. Pray on it, and then just keep it moving and do it. The next tip I have is diversify. Okay, here's what we're going to really get into it, because you guys already know. People ask me, like, why do you do so much? When you got a radio show, you got this, you got that, you got this company. Because guess what? A good friend of mine posted this morning on Facebook that she recently was laid off from her job. And she said, you know what? It's a good thing that I subscribe to the multiple streams of revenue. And I said, girl, and I just stood up with like the slow clap. Like, that's what I'm talking about. She had other things lined up, so that way when she lost one, the other ones were there. That is what I mean by diversify. I don't mean jump into every business opportunity. I'm not saying that. You jump into the business opportunities that make sense for your goals, make sense for your future, for the legacy that you're building, and what you see your profitability goals to be. Yes, listen. I'm a spiritual person. I believe in the Lord. I turn to the Lord for everything. But let me tell you something. He does not want us to be broke, number one. Number two, if you're in business to make money, and nobody should ever make you feel guilty for having profits on your mind. Yes, you do good. That's my thing, is do good first. But profits, because you got to pay the bills. You have to pay the bill. And I'm leaving a legacy for my son. I'm not leaving bills for him. I'm not leaving check to check for him. I'm not leaving any of that for him. I'm leaving a legacy for my son. And in order to do that, I have to start thinking of profitability for my business. And that's how you guys should do too. Profits on your mind and do good for, exactly. That's a tweetable moment. You know, and we get scared, and it's like we get guilted into, and let me say this, and please don't send the goons after me. A lot of social entrepreneurs are out there. And for me, I still kind of struggle with the term social entrepreneur. Not that it's a bad thing, because I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a misguided thing. I think it's a misleading thing, because everybody is so prompt to do good and bring freedom to the masses, and low cost this to the masses, and free that to the masses, and all this other stuff to the masses, to the general public. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful as a nonprofit endeavor. But when you're building a company, you need money. Okay, point blank. Look at Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg started that and said, listen, I'm not looking to do this as a business. I'm not looking to do this to make money or whatever. What's his net worth now? He's making money, isn't he? Yes, he is. And he's still doing good, but he's making money. Because eventually he knew he had to monetize. Okay? Let's look at Airbnb. Let's say that. They started out doing something that was from the good. Let's give people an affordable place to stay, without having to go to big fancy hotels and paying all this money. What's their valuation today? How much investment money did they get? How much money are they making now? How much expansion are they doing? Yeah, because they're thinking of profitability. So for me, it conflicts. It does. You can't say, oh, this is for the people. This is the only thing. No, I can't even say the only thing, because I was going to say WordPress is an example, but they have those people that create those plugins and themes and things to sell for WordPress, so you still have to pay something. So my point is, don't let anybody guilt you. You are in business to make money. Make money, and you do that by diversification. You diversify. You don't jump into every single thing, but you diversify. You make sure that you're doing things that make sense. For me, here's why diversification has worked for me, and this is why I have 3 different businesses that are not the same, but my mission is the same, and it all fits into my core values. Empower Me Corporation, you guys already know, empowerme.org. It's all about helping companies to grow and scale responsibly to become profitable companies. I grow businesses, leaders, and teams. That's what it is, okay? And I happen to also do scopes, Mogul Chicks Chat, I do radio shows, I write, I blog, whatever. So all of this, there's a lot of content out there for free that people can look at to help them to better themselves and better their companies. Okay? Still in alignment with my goals and my mission. Company number 2, Curvy Girl Closet. Yes, I make money from Curvy Girl Closet. Yes, I get paid kind of sort of like eBay. Like eBay needs consignment for plus size women. But guess what? It is also an opportunity for people to make money as well and build their own economy by selling their items through Curvy Girl Closet and being part of that community. So I get paid, they get paid. People find other items that they maybe couldn't have found before. Win, win, win for everybody. Fills into my alignment with my core mission. Then finally, the company that I co-own with my sisters that we're relaunching, Busy's Place. Yes, it's all about romance and fun and sexy and all that other stuff. But what else is there to it? An opportunity for people to come on board and create their own economies by working with us and selling and being distributors through us. Building opportunities for them to create their own economy. You see the common thread through all of my companies? The common thread? It's not only about me. It's not just about me. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get mine. But I have an obligation and a responsibility to bring people up as well. Offering opportunities. Now, it's up to them whether they want to accept it or not. But I put the opportunities there. We opened Busy's Place in 2013, a soft launch, and we shut it down last year. But I spent the better part of a year customizing, tailoring a very extensive and stringent training program for people who come on board. Because when I say I build entrepreneurs, I'm not playing. I build entrepreneurs. Plus, I don't want anybody that's not going to represent our brand. So it's in my best interest to make sure they're equipped mentally, emotionally, and intellectually to be able to represent the brand, so that the more they know, the more informed they are, the more skilled they are, the more money they can make. The more money they make, the more money my brand makes. So it's a cycle. It's recycling that knowledge and helping people build up. So that's the common core. When I say I've diversified, and then aside from that, we have the speaking engagements and teaching and all the other stuff that I do, communities and things that I do as well. But it all centers on that core mission. What is your value? What is your mission? Whatever that is, when you start looking for opportunities to diversify, that's what you need to build around. You know, a lot of people, I tell people, you can't have like a clothing line and turn around and say, I want to open a snake farm. No, but if it has this, if you have the same core values in alignment, knock yourself out, but diversify. And then when you diversify, you need to diversify even further, because remember a couple of weeks ago, what did I say? It's not just about business ownership. When you're building your wealth and you're building your legacy, it's about business ownership. It's about entrepreneurship. It's about investing in stocks in the market and bonds. It's about investing in companies. It's about becoming an angel investor, investing into startups. It's about real estate. You have to diversify. You have to, because when one thing goes down, the others rise up. So you don't ever want to be where you're focused on one specific revenue cycle or one specific profitability. You know what I'm trying to say. When you focus on one area, your whole world will fall apart. You know, look at the people who only do real estate, who only are like maybe real estate agents. And when the markets crashed, oh my God, they went scrambling. Because it was like, what do I do? Use those gifts that you have. Use those talents, those skills that you have, and create other opportunities. If you have a smartphone, a laptop, a car, your half the battle is done for you. For whatever kind of business you want. The rest will fall into place. But if you have those three essential elements and the passion and the guts to go for it, you can find whatever you need to make yourself successful. So always diversify and make sure that you're using all of the gifts and skills and talents that you have. And then, let's see, strategic partnerships. I only have 2 more, guys. I'm going to go and then I'm going to end this. Strategic partnerships, strategic alliances. Now, Mala, I don't know if she's still, Maya's still on here. I hope she's still on here, because I owe her an apology. I'm going to tell you guys this publicly, what happened. We had connected a couple of months back through a good friend of mine, Jay Stone, and I had mentioned to her that I wanted to collaborate on some things. And when she sent the notice and said, come on, let's get together, let's meet, let's strategic, do something, maybe we could do a conference or something, or, and life got in the way, and I missed that call and ended up missing out on an opportunity. But that's okay, because everything is in its time. You have to start looking for strategic partnerships and really pay attention and show up and be present, because you miss opportunities when you stay closed into yourself. And when you get to that point where you feel like there's nobody I can depend on, or I don't trust anyone, you shut yourself down from opportunities. And there are so many opportunities out there if you just relax yourself, open your mind and your heart, and you'll get it in here. You will get it in here. And what did I say? Take it to the throne, because he'll give you that intuition. And you'll know when it might be the right person, but not the right time. Or it might be the right time, but not the right person. So you have to be really in tune with what your needs are and not go along to get along. You have to be really cautious about protecting your dream, but at the same time being open and receptive to strategic partnerships. It has to make sense. Now, let me give you a simple example. If you ran into someone who had maybe 30 people on their mailing list, and let's say they are a nutritionist, okay, and let's say that you have like 1,000 people on your list, your mailing list, your community, and you are a tech consultant. Let's say tech consultant. That's not, you see what I'm saying? That's not in alignment. It's not in alignment. You have to really dig deep to see where the nuances are and where the synergies are. That's not an alliance. You need to be in tune to find out who makes sense to partner with. So make sure you stay open to strategic partnerships, because let me tell you, they can take you places. They can, I have stories, I ain't going to get into them now, but I have stories that strategic partnerships, it's like, thank you, Lord, you put the right people in my way, in my path at the right time. Let's see, pay for results, conferences, classes, advisors, consultants, coaches, if that's your thing. Nobody is an island, and nobody succeeds by themselves, and nobody succeeds by investing no money into themselves or their businesses. So start thinking in terms of, what will this gain me in the long run? What value does it provide me? As opposed to, how much is this going to cost? Because when you start thinking about how much this is going to cost, you get anxious, you get worried. And I got a good friend, Francina Harrison, TCE, the career engineer. Don't get worried, get prepared. Don't get anxious, get prepared is what she says all the time. And I live by that as well. TCE Now is her website, and it's The Career Engineer. Or Career Engineer, excuse me. She says that all the time. And then finally, get yourself out there and get exposure. You know, I said earlier about you got to get out of that being introverted thing. But speaking at conferences, let me tell you something. Whether it is 3 people in the audience or 300 in the audience, I give people that same passion, that same fire. The same way I'm sitting here talking to you right now is the same way I would be sitting up on a stage, talking out to a sea of people, giving them the same kind of advice with the same tone, with the same conviction. You got to be able to get out there and put yourself out there with speaking engagements. You got to be able to write. You know, it's an honor. It was an honor to write for Forbes. It was an honor to write for Project Eve. It was an honor to write for American Express. I'm about to start writing for GoDaddy's Garage for the small business thing. It's an honor. When people ask me to write for them, that means that their audience truly values what I have to share with them. And it could possibly touch one person. So get out there, start writing. Get out there, start speaking. Go to events. Go to conferences. Mingle with people. Here's a tip about conferences, what I love. I love to do this. Conferences and trade shows. It's not so much about the workshops that go on during the conference. It's the networking that happens in the hallways, between the sets, between the speaking, between the presentations. That networking is magical. There are times when I'll spend money to go to a conference. I don't give a damn about what's going on this day. I don't care about the workshop. That's not relevant. But I know that such and such and such and such and such and such is going to be there. I know that this person's going to be presenting a panel. And I make a mental note, and then I reach out before the conference. Hey, I'm going to be at the conference. Can we get together? Let's do it. Let's have a drink. Let's have lunch. Let's have tea. Whatever it is. Let's get together, see how we could collaborate on some things. And we get to meet each other. And that's how you grow relationships. So invest that money. There's one coming up, and I think it might be too late for you guys some of you guys to register for the Women of Power conference. It's going to be in, I want to say, Fort Lauderdale or Miami this year by Black Enterprise. If you can attend, please go. Wonderful, powerful networking going on there. So, but that's what I wanted to share. You know, you want to build your legacy. There are a lot of things you have to do with a lot of moving parts to it. You can't be scared, because entrepreneurship, this is not for punks. It's not for punks. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weak-spirited. It's not for the weak-minded. You need to think in terms of the future. You can't think about my little business, my small business. I'm going to make $100,000 this year. No, you think about your legacy. What are you leaving for your children? What are you leaving for your family, for your grandchildren? What are you leaving for the community as a whole? What are your objectives? You know, and it's not to make $150,000, because that you can do it with a job or 2 jobs, depending on how you roll. So make sure you really sit down tonight and you think about what goes into building your legacy. So I'm about to go. It's 3 o'clock, and I need to get me some lunch. But I'm Adrienne Graham, CEO and founder of Empower Me Corporation. You can find us at empowerme.org. You can visit curvygirlcloset.com, and Busy's Place is coming live soon, the week before Valentine's. My hand is itching. Hopefully that means I'm getting some money. Come before Valentine's Day. In the meantime, you can find Busy's Place on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You're welcome, Kyla. I hope my words have been inspiring. And for those of you who watch the replay, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share the broadcast, and keep in touch. Talent Diva on Periscope and Twitter. Adrienne Graham throughout the rest of the social universe, and empowerme.org. If you have a question, info@empowerme.org. And don't forget Mogul Chicks. Mogul Chicks with an X is MOGULCHIX.empowerme.org. Thank you, Shells. I appreciate that. I hope you found some value. And I'll tell you guys, I only do this so that I can help the next person come up. So mogulchicks.empowerme.org and empowerme.org. And I will catch you later. And have a blessed and prosperous weekend. And I'll see you guys on social media. Take care.